If your fantasy hockey seasons weren't a complete success, we're going to make sure your postseason performances are over the top, betting or fantasy wise, which is why the latest edition of the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast is breaking down our first two postseason series, Oilers and Kings, Avs and Stars, X Factors, predictions, breakdowns, best bets, and everything that you need to know. Let's get this postseason paper.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is good, my fantasy fanatics? Welcome back inside the lab to the latest edition of your daily 30-minute source for postseason coverage, betting breakdowns, and all of the off-season fantasy angles that you need to know to dominate your upcoming season. It's the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast with Steal and Flip. Salute, shout out, much love. We see you. We appreciate you, everydayers. Thank you for making us your first listen every single day. Steele, let's keep this simple and sweet. We got Tuesday bets coming up. We're going to continue to drop bets every single episode for the games each night. Tuesday, we've got a whole bunch of tasty games, 10-game NHL betting board. But today's episode and the rest of this week, for the most part, we're going to break down series by series. Colorado, Dallas, Edmonton, LA. There are so many angles that you and I could cover, and I think we're going to cover most of them. So over to you, my friend. Let's dive into it. X factors, predictions, best bets, and what is going on with these squads. Over to you.
Outside of the of the potential battle of Ontario between the Toronto Maple Leafs and Ottawa Senators, this Dallas Stars Colorado Avalanche series might be my most favorite and one that I'm tuning in on a frequent basis in the playoffs. I mean, I'm going to be tuning into every single game, but This might be hands down my favorite matchup going into the first round of the playoffs, because the big storyline is Mikko Rantanen facing his old team, the Colorado Avalanche, obviously traded twice this season. What is the reception going to be like when he goes into Colorado, when he goes back to Denver? Obviously, the fans are not going to treat him very nicely when they're in games 3 and 4 back in Colorado. The season series in the regular season, it was actually in favor of Colorado. They were up 2-1-0 in the season series. Playoff history wise, these two teams have played each other in the first round or in the playoffs twice in the last 5 years, and the Dallas Stars actually won both those matchups against the Colorado Avalanche. So let's start with the Stars, some X factors, predictions, best bets from this team, and then we'll work our way over to the Avalanche. First of all, the Dallas Stars, 16th best power play in the league, 22.8%. They have the third best penalty kill at 82.3% as well. When you look at this Stars team, and I know that you have, since the beginning of the season, actually, let's go all the way back to 2024 season as well. You've been on this Stars team, and you really think that they're at that point where they can be a Stanley Cup final team. I mean, they were a Stanley Cup final team just a couple of seasons ago. They're on the verge of being one of the best teams right now in the Western Conference. How do you see them facing up against the Avalanche, and who's your X factor for the Stars going into the first round?
So this might be a very unsexy take, Steele, but I got the old school notepad out here. I'm not playing around. Postseason is very serious for both you and I. Not like the fantasy campaign wasn't, but we don't put in all of this work all season long to fall short on our predictions now. So I want to get very serious. And let me just throw this out there, because thank you for highlighting the special teams, something that you and I are going to continue to do. You've heard it from me 100,000 times. How about this little angle? What's also most important in the postseason? Puck possession and efficiency in the faceoff dot. This season, the Colorado Avalanche, 28th in the NHL in faceoff winning percentage. The Dallas Stars, 7th. X factor right away off the start. It's not a player, it's an angle. And it's if the Dallas Stars can continue to dominate in the faceoff dot, and this might sound boring, Steele, and it doesn't exactly translate at any fantasy angles. Up the middle and up front, the Dallas Stars are very balanced. Veterans, good young players, players on good seasons. You name it, they have it. Not taken away from the Colorado Avalanche, but early, my X factor for the Dallas Stars is if they can take it to the Colorado Avalanche in the dot, that is going to be a situation that I've got my eyes double peeled on that the Avalanche might not to be able to recover from. So that's my first angle. You mentioned the penalty kill for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
Fourth best in the NHL. You cannot allow Cale Makar and all of the studs on the Colorado Avalanche, your favorite Nathan MacKinnon. I have a feeling we're going to talk about the best player on the planet conversation a couple times on this episode. I'll spit it out. It's in the dot for me. I still give the edge to the Dallas Stars. We'll get there at the end. But the other angle is, can the penalty kill clamp down on what is such a special unit?
Great point.
For Colorado Avalanche. That's me. I know the season series is what it was. There is a number of different things I'd like to talk about, but that's how I feel off the bat. And let's not forget, Miro Heiskanen going to miss game 1 as well for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, he's going to be out. I mean, there's still potential he misses the first round of the playoffs with this knee injury. And great points there. The ever so important face-off dot in the offensive zone, in the defensive zone, clogging up the neutral zone so this fast Colorado team can't transition in the middle of the ice. That's exactly what the Dallas Stars need to do. I'm looking at the young guns because we know the important and key players for the Dallas Stars, Jason Robertson, Matt Duchene's been incredible, Jake Ottinger, of course, but I'm looking at guys who are going to have a lot of pressure on their shoulders. And like you just said, Miro Heiskanen missing at least the first game, potentially the second and third. I'm looking at Thomas Harley. He needs to be the X factor for me. Career year so far for him.
Great point,
50 points in 77 games. He gets a lot of blocks, a lot of shots on net this year. And when you look at what he did last year in the playoffs and the year before that, he's had 4 points last year in 19 games. Didn't really stand out offensively, but still played a lot of heavy minutes. 9 points in 2022 in the postseason for the Dallas Stars. And at the age of 22, 23, and without Miro Heiskanen in the lineup to start this series, he's going to be the guy that needs to get the job done on both ends of the ice, quarterbacking the power play. Like we said, 16th best in the league right now. It's not good enough. He needs to step up for them on the
100%.
back end and make sure he's protecting Jake Ottinger in front of the net. Obviously, guys like Nichushkin, Matt Dumba, Lindell, they're going to be getting it in defensively. Yep. But Thomas Harley needs to be contributing on both ends of the ice. And then I'm also looking at Wyatt Johnston as an X factor as well. He has been a clutch performer in the playoffs for the Dallas Stars teams. Countless times he's come up with incredible game-winning goals. He had 16 points in 19 games last year at the age of 20. He's going into his third postseason with the Stars at the age of 21. And that's also what this Stars team needs. There's been times where Jason Robertson, Rupe Hintz, Matt Duchene go a little cold, and they need that extra caliber depth scoring from a guy like Wyatt Johnston. You know, Jamie Benn's going to be on the physical aspect, making sure he's standing up for his teammates. So is Matt Dumba, Mason Marchman, and guys like that. Wyatt Johnston, with the skill set that he has, he needs to make sure he's contributing in the offensive zone. Those are my two X factors for the Dallas Stars in this first round series.
Absolutely love it. Let's talk about our X factors for the Colorado Avalanche after the break.
Yeah.
I will just throw it out there that my prediction is going to stay on brand for what I think I have said for the last 2 seasons. I really appreciate you mentioning the line combination matchups because we can agree the forward depth that the Dallas Stars now have. Mikael Granlund has been sensational since coming over. No one's talking about it. Wyatt Johnston is a borderline number 1 center on most other teams. Matt Duchene has 81 points in 80 games still. There are a lot of angles.
Career high for him too.
There's a lot of angles here to this Dallas Stars team. Do all those things translate to playoff success? No, they don't. Who has a cup in the last couple of years and who doesn't? It's the Colorado Avalanche, and the Dallas Stars do not. So let's not forget about all of these, but let's not forget that both Mackenzie Blackwood and Casey DeSmith, for the entirety of their career, have been backup goaltenders or 50-50 splits at best. Jake Ottinger has been a bona fide number 1 goaltender on a good team, and he has all the ability in the world to steal a series. Will he do that? We'll talk about it after the break. What is going to go down between the LA Kings and Edmonton Oilers? We got bets to break down. Oh, baby. Buckle up. Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast is your daily source, and today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Wonderful Pistachios. If you need a snack that's delicious and nutritious, crack into the good stuff with a good source of protein from Wonderful Pistachios. One of the highest protein nuts, where each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you be full longer. Right now, the no-shell variety, Bo Steele and I, crushing it. Grab and go, busy day, on the road with the pets, whatever it is, the no-shell variety of Wonderful Pistachios takes us over the top and keeps us feeling full longer. Get snacking, get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com today to learn more.
And once again, thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Pod your first listen every single day. Hit that subscribe button, the follow button, leave a 5-star review, and make sure you're staying tuned in all week long for the Locked On Fantasy Hockey breakdown of the playoffs first round series. Dallas Stars, Colorado Avalanche, cannot wait for this series. And like we said,
Agreed.
The return of Mikko Rantanen in Colorado for a 7-game series. It's going to be incredible. Avalanche, though, this season, eighth best power play at 24.8%, 14th best penalty kill at 79.8%. And for myself, obviously, you have to look towards the best player in the world, Nathan MacKinnon. You have to look at the best defenseman in the world right now, Cale Makar. Those are going to be the key impactful players, of course, for this team. Who can be an X factor, though? You can look at guys like Jonathan Drouin, Arturi Lehkonen, Mackenzie Blackwood. I'm looking at Valeri Nichushkin. He needs to be the X factor for this team. He cannot lose focus like he has done the last 2 years, which has cost them maybe potentially another 2 Stanley Cups under this Avalanche team's belt in the last 4 seasons. Look, we know what has happened with Nichushkin and this team whenever it's come to the playoff time. We're not going to dive deep into that. Yeah. A lot has happened for Nichushkin. He needs to remain focused. He needs to remain impactful and contributing to this team offensively. Get in front of the net. Make it chaotic for Darcy. So not Darcy Kemper. Make it chaotic for Jake Ottinger in front of the net. At all costs. That's where he lives. That's where he lives and breathes, right there in front of the net. He's got a great shot, a great snapshot in the offensive zone as well. I think Valeri Nichushkin, and when you look at what he has also done as well this season in the limited amount of games he's played, 34 points in 43 games, a lot of shots on net. He brings the body as well every now and again. And when you look again, when you look at what he's done in the postseason the last 3 years, 25 points in 30 games for the Colorado Avalanche. This is a guy that can make a big difference on a series. And if he can remain focused and content with himself in between the ears, this Avalanche team is going to go deep in the playoffs.
I don't know if I can fully agree with that take. I don't know if I can fully, in terms of them going deep in the playoffs. That's all. I'm not disagreeing with the Nichushkin angle because it's 100% you knocked it out of the park. He's a shooter. He's a scorer. And he's proven that actually he has that clutch bone in his body when he's staying away from the trouble that seems to ensue whenever he goes back to a team hotel. Anyway, agreed. Don't agree with that they're going to go deep in the playoffs. Also, don't agree that Nathan MacKinnon is the best player on the planet. I'll talk about that when we talk about the Edmonton Oilers. Is he the best fantasy piece? Yes, he is, but he's not the best player on the planet. Not in my opinion. We'll talk about it. However, my X factors for this team, you alluded to him. You mentioned him, Arturi Lehkonen. Just a couple of seasons ago, Arturi Lehkonen won the Stanley Cup with this team. We know that. But during that run, he led the league in postseason game-winning goals with 4. This guy has a clutch bone in his body. And there's no shock that both these players that we're talking about for the Colorado Avalanche, if they want to be heard from in the matter that you're suggesting, both of these players, I think, are going to have to step up and support the stars in this lineup, not the Dallas Stars, the superstars. Arturi Lehkonen, he's the X factor for me, Steele. Somebody throw some respect on this guy's name. 130 points in 178 games played over the last 3 regular seasons. And in the playoffs as well, Steele, almost a point per game player. In his career for the Colorado Avalanche, in 37 career postseason games, my man's got 31 points. To me, he fits the bill. He has scored major goals in his postseason career. I look at Lehkonen as the prototypical X factor. I like yours in Nichushkin. I'll spit it out now, though. Stars in 7. I can't back down. Does it make sense that, according to FanDuel, the Colorado Avalanche, as of right now, are minus 120 favorites to win the series? I get it. But hit me with the Stars, especially at plus money. I think this has got 7-game battle written all over it. I'll take Stars in 7. Coin flip. Both of these teams are real good.
Well, I'll agree with you there in 7 games, but I'm going with the Colorado Avalanche. It has to be the Avalanche, and we'll dive into that conversation of best player on the planet in the National Hockey League. But you got the Stars in 7. I got the Avalanche in 7. Let's quickly get over to the Oilers and Kings, the other solidified matchup in the Western Conference at this time right now. Look, last game of the regular season is on Thursday. The first game of the playoffs are on Saturday. So it's coming quick.
Woo-hoo!
Oilers, Kings. This is the 4th consecutive year the Kings and Oilers match up in the first round. Oilers have won 3 straight. The season series is actually in favor of the LA Kings. They were a 2-1-0 on the season series. Kings, 5th worst power play at 17.1%, 6th best penalty kill at 81.8%. And then you've got the Oilers, who've got the 9th best power play at 24.6 and 16th best penalty kill at 78.1%. So when you look at these two teams, you see the recent playoff history for at least the last 3 years, 4 years after when the playoffs come around. Now, LA Kings, X Factor, who are you looking at right now?
So I thought about this one long and hard, and I the obvious answer to me wanted to be Darcy Kemper, considering how good he has been over the last couple of months and just, this season in general. To me, it's got to be I want it to be a forward, because when you look at the numbers for this LA Kings team, they hang their hat defensively. 2nd in the NHL in shots against per game. Steal, I got the notepad right here. 25.4 shots against per game. They're 2nd in overall goals against. To me, that means an X factor has to be someone who is unpredictably going to have to do well. So, to me, that's a forward, and it's Quinton Byfield. 53 points in 79 games. This is a guy who hasn't lived up to expectations, as in fits the X factor mold to a T. Maybe not everyone looking at him. You're looking at the Fialas, the Kempes, the stars of this team. Byfield has an opportunity here to establish himself. If this LA Kings team can do what they've done defensively against the Edmonton Oilers big guns, and we'll talk about their injuries in a second because there's so many, the Oilers are in trouble. But they still have, in my opinion, the best player on the planet. Let me explain it and move right over to you. Not fantasy-wise. And this is the difference for me, and this is a very subjective angle. Connor McDavid has the game-changing speed and ability, not like Nathan McKinnon doesn't, but when you see him impact games, and I know I'm on an uphill battle here, Steele, Connor McDavid, for me, personally, I'm going to take him over Nathan McKinnon, and I know McKinnon has a cup in his mantelpiece, but with the Edmonton Oilers still having, in my opinion, the best player on the planet, I don't want to fully count them out yet, Steele. And we got to touch on Evander Kane getting healthy. Looks like he'll be back. That could be huge. Leon Draisaitl, he's going to be back, it looks like. Is Zach Hyman? I guess what I'm trying to say here is, Steele, I'm concerned about the injury angles, and we just don't know. So there are a lot of unknowns. I'll go back to my original point. For my LA Kings X Factor, it's got to be a forward, and it's Quinton Byfield. Really long story long there for you. Sorry, my pal.
Look, look. All well said right there with this Oilers team
for
and
the
this
most
Kings
part.
team. For the most part, I like the X Factor. I'll get to mine after the break. I was going to go with Quinton Byfield. I was looking at a guy I was also looking at a guy like Warren Fogle, obviously an ex-Oiler going into this matchup as well. I'll get to my X Factor for both the Kings and Oilers after the break. Of course, big time bets as well. But first, this episode is also brought to you by Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need an extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. If you need help with a marketing campaign, Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who delivers incredible results. Posting a job is free and simple, and within a day, with multiple qualified candidates to choose from. Instead of hiring full-time, Upwork helps find affordable top-tier freelancers to scale our business efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Pod your first listen every single day. We appreciate all that love and support Monday through Fridays when you can find our episodes. First round matchup, LA Kings, Edmonton Oilers. So excited for the playoffs to come around starting on Saturday, April 21st. Kings X factor for me, like I said, it could have been Quinton Byfield. It still can. Warren Fogel's up there. Trevor Moore, guys like that. Philip Deneau, guys who rock the bottom six on that third line. I'm looking defensively. The easy answer is Darcy Kuemper. You're exactly right there. And again, he could be an X factor. For me, the X factor has to be Drew Doughty. He is going to have a lot on his hands. Dealing with a guy like Zach Hyman, dealing with guys like Evander Kane if he comes back, especially protecting Darcy Kuemper in front of the net. And obviously, when you look at the teams that have won the Stanley Cup champion over the last 5-6 years, they always have one star defenseman who contributes in an incredible fashion offensively. Drew Doughty, when you look at his overall stats, playoff-wise, or even on the regular season so far this year, Drew Doughty, just pulling it up real quick. I'm trying to find it. 17 points in 28 games this year. Obviously dealt with injury at the beginning of the season.
He's been good,
points.
though.
He's been very good defensively. Blocks, hits, shots on net, penalty minutes, fantasy-wise, obviously. When you look at playoffs, he's always been a very steady player. And, of course, when you go back over a decade to when they won the 2 Stanley Cups, 16 points in 20 games, 18 points in 26 games. And he's still been a contributing factor the last 2 seasons at the age of 33 and 34. So he's my X factor going into this first round series. Excuse me. On the other hand, the X factor for the Edmonton Oilers, it has to be Zach Hyman. And I know this Edmonton Oilers team is really banged up right now. You know, Draisaitl and McDavid have been dealing with injuries the last month. We still don't know if Evander Kane, he's still waiting to get the go-ahead. Jake Wallman's day-to-day. Matthias Ekholm could be out for the entire postseason as well. Stetcher's day-to-day. Nugent Hopkins. There's a lot of injuries right now, like you said, and Zach Hyman's been dealing with it, but he was incredible last year for this Edmonton Oilers team in the postseason. Offensively, he was just doing everything, and in that season, in the regular season, it just continued for Zach Hyman. Obviously a down year so far this year with only 44 points in 73 games, but 22 points in 25 games last year, 11 points in 12 the year before that, 16 and 16 the year before that. Zach Hyman steps up in the biggest way possible when the time matters most. And like you said, when you have the best player in the NHL, again, subjectively for you, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are capable of just creating incredible plays in the offensive zone.
And they've done it before in the postseason with regularity.
And they have done it before. With all these injuries, with the concern of Stuart Skinner, I'm worried about this team as well. My X factor for the Oilers has to be Zach Hyman. He has to make it chaotic in front of the net for Darcy Kuemper. You can't let him get comfortable early in this series. He's been the second best goaltender all year.
So, very quickly, we know the concerns for the Edmonton Oilers. Injuries and the goaltending. It's clear. However, what is also clear, last season, not too long ago, We saw the postseason for the ages from 97. We saw a player on the losing team win the Conn Smythe for only a handful of times in NHL history. And if Draisaitl is back, even at 75%, they are hands down, clear cut, the most dangerous duo that the NHL has. And that's all that really matters at times in the postseason. So for me, Oilers in 7, first and foremost. I know that's bold. I got Oilers in 7. I see both of these series going the distance. X factor right away for me, Edmonton Oilers, aside from the Edmonton Oilers' history against the LA Kings. And I know that's an intangible and it's in the head. That's huge. The Oilers have owned the LA Kings. And that's something that they're going to have to overcome on the LA bench. However, Evan Bouchard has been such a disappointment this season, fantasy or otherwise. You've mentioned it. Just his body language, his overall confidence, his hockey IQ, making bad plays, poor decisions. I know I picked him apart for expectations falling short. 67 points in 80 games for most D-men is a sensational year. I think, given what he did last season, Steele, and you know what you're going to get out of Draisaitl and McDavid, Evan Bouchard here, who is on a 4-game point streak, who has a goal and 4 assists in his last 4 games, has a massive opportunity to impact the pace of play, especially on the power play. Evan Bouchard is the difference maker, the X factor for me. I got Oilers in 7. I also have Connor McDavid, series point leader, as my best bet. Jump all over that. Even if the Oilers lose, McJesus is going to blow the doors off. He's ready to go, Steele. We can have the conversation about McDavid and McKinnon another time. Yeah. It's 1A, 1B at worst. McDavid, leading point scorer for this series. Lock it in. That one's happening.
Kings in 6 for me. It's a different year for them. This is the first time in the last four playoff matches that the LA Kings are actually going to have home ice advantage. They didn't have that the first 3 times around. They have the best home record for a reason. They have the second best goaltender on the year as well, in Darcy Kemper. LA Kings in 6. Everything's panning out for them right now. Home record, home ice advantage. They're healthy. And Stuart Skinner, I'm very worried about that.
Fair.
Also, tidbit, side note, how awesome is it that finally in the 15-year career of Jeff Skinner, he finally gets into the postseason for the first time in his career. Absolutely love stories like that as well, but it is a uphill battle for this very injured Oilers team right now. Big time bets Tuesday. I'm loving these picks. If you don't mind, I'm going to rattle them all off. Wild on the puck line against the Ducks. They're 9-0-1 in the last 10. 7 of those 9 wins by 2 or more goals. First pick, Wild on the puck line. Second pick, Blues on the money line against Utah. While the Calgary Flames have really made this Western Conference wildcard race very close, they all play Tuesday night. I think Wild and Blues just completely fold the Calgary Flames. You know, they tried very hard, but they're not going to make it. Wild puck line, Blues money line, second pick, and the lock of the night, Maple Leafs on the puck line against the Buffalo Sabres.
Maple Leafs on the puck line. That's a spicy one. I like it. It's going to go nicely for my lock of the night. Austin Matthews anytime point. I'll get it out of the way early. I think that this is a very straightforward take, and I know you somewhat disagreed with me when I said the Leafs go as far as 34 carries them, but I'm going to reiterate it, and this is my personal take. I get that they have Willie, Mitchie, and whoever else you want to point out there, JT on a heater. Matthews has to be a difference maker then, Steele. I'll hedge. Maybe it doesn't all run through as far as he carries them. Austin Matthews has 75 points in 65 games by most players in the NHL. That's a banner year. We expect more from him, even with the injury. He had 2 shots on net and a goal in the Carolina game. I'm going to cop out and go Austin Matthews anytime point because this is a parlay. That's the lock of the night, but I love all 3 of my picks. Columbus at Philly. Nothing to play for either of these teams. Likely, we don't know the result of Montreal on Monday, but this is basically an irrelevant game. However, the last 3 games between these two, Steele, have produced a total of 23 combined goals. And also, over their last 10, 8 of them have gone over the number. CBJ, Philly, over 5.5. And I'm wrapping it up with the Battle of Florida. A lot on the line here, potentially, Steele. I don't know, again, the results of what's going to shake out over the next night. However, I know this. Head-to-head, Florida 7-3-0 in their last 10. But the last 3 games, Steele, under the number. Taking it up to 6.5. This one should be playoff atmosphere. I like the under. 6.5 between the Battle of Florida. Under 6.5 there, over CBJ and Philly. And Austin Matthews, anytime point.
Anytime point, Austin Matthews. Absolutely love that. Come on, go with the anytime goal for Poppy against the Buffalo
I'll
Sabres.
do it just for you.
Do it just for me. Appreciate that. Appreciate all of you out there tuning in, making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. For your second listen, make sure you're tuning into Locked On NHL Podcast as well, where the season never ends, providing national expertise. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. From your boys here, Flip Livingstone and Steel Roden. We wish you good luck with your bets tonight, and we shall see you back here again tomorrow.
Peace.